can't believe it, folks. It finally happened. We've reached the day of the finale of the first Cour of the Bleach Thousand Year Blood War. And wow, oh wow, I was first of all just shocked alone to see that they gave us a double whammy, because essentially they called it an hour-long special, but it was really just 2 episodes that aired back to back, because the way I watched it on Hulu was 2 separate episodes. I was like, wait a minute, day after Christmas I get 2 episodes of Bleach? Nani Sore? This is amazing! And considering the fact that Bleach's Thousand Year Blood War up until this point has been a grand slam, with every episode delivering to the utmost capacity, I had no doubt in my mind for high expectations when it came to this finale. And of course, yet again, Studio Pierrot with this new wave they're coming with thanks to Bleach's Thousand Year Blood War absolutely brought all their A game with these episodes. And I feel like it was so appropriate, right? Because remember, this is 4 cours. It's going to be 52 episodes divided up into 13 episode blocks, and then you'll get the next set of episodes and so on and so forth until all 52 are released. And wow, the fact that the finale of the first cour alone really wraps up ICHIGO'S character arc, understanding everything about Ichigo from beginning to end. I love it. These last, I want to say, even 3 episodes, because last week's episode as well included, really dove into Ichigo and understanding who he truly is. Because, you know, we've seen a lot about Ichigo, and of course Ichigo is definitely a lot of different things. We've seen him be a visor, the full bring, like he's a lot of different things, but this is what he was before all the madness, and this is how he came to be. Like, I feel like Kubo made sure to cross every T and dot every I on his way out with Bleach's Thousand Year Blood War, because in particular, especially the first cour, it really gives you like, okay, this is Ichigo Kurosaki, and this is also the utmost character development for Ichigo Kurosaki. I love the fact that I get to see this with like a hindsight vision of, yo, well, 10 years ago, how did I look at this? And then 10 years later, how do I look at it with the anime adaptation? And I love the fact that this is the utmost character development that you could possibly give for a character that is so split and so divided like Ichigo Kurosaki. He fought the Hollow off time and time again throughout the series, like, no, you ain't driving the boat. Likewise with Zangetsu, it was like, hey, thanks for guidance, yo, can you give me something. But this episode, it really puts into perspective Ichigo understanding and letting go of possibly some fears, some resentments, and just in general coming into his own. This is the moment where the main character really mans up, and that's something that I love. The fact that, yeah, you could argue, wow, it took so long to get to this point, but we got it nonetheless, and in such an epic way, because again, I don't need to keep on stressing about the art and animation. It just looked great. Like, there was maybe a couple of little simple moments, nothing bad at all, but simple moments here and there throughout these 2 episodes, more so like in the midst of the 2nd episode, but as a whole, it was just phenomenal. Damn near every scene from Nimayo Uetsu when he's talking with Ichigo and everything, it was just freaking brilliant. But, you know, diving into characters as well that we really got little glimpses of throughout the series, and I'm speaking of Isshin and Masaki, and even the whole Ryuken scenario. You never would have thought in the beginning of Bleach, yo, there's some crazy dramatic love triangle that went down in a weird way between Ryuken, Masaki, and Isshin, although in retrospect, that's what I initially had thought, that it was just that, you know, at surface level. But if you really dig deep, this thing even gives you into Ryuken's character and why he's so miserable. It wasn't necessarily like, I am so heartbroken, I wanted Masaki. Like, he really was, you know, more so like family-ish, like, hey, I'm just supposed to be protecting my family. Ryuken's heartbreak is the fact that he feels like a failure, while a Shinigami, you know, they've always been at war and at odds with one another, was able to, at the drop of a hat, okay, I'll give up everything, you know, all of these circumstances that are bad in order to save this girl's life. Isshin looks back and he just stood beside, while Isshin and Masaki went through and fought that Hollow. So it kind of broke him, it crushed him, it made him feel like, wow, you know, the one of the representatives from the other squad, so to speak, the Shinigamis, did it at the drop of a hat. I'm supposed to be the protector of this family, and I couldn't get it done, and I couldn't, you know, push myself to get involved, and look at what happened to her. I wasn't able to protect her. Ultimately, a Shinigami had to. That is probably the core of Ryuken's pain, and then everything else that ensued that led him to say, you know what, hey, maid, you're mine now. And that's how Yeah, Uryu was born. Hey! But it was just fascinating to dive more into the Quincy whole, bloodline and all these family ties and whatnot, because that was one of the pivotal things from the moment that you get Uryu involved into the story way in the beginning of Bleach, is that, there is an issue between the Quincy and the Shinigami. Why is that? And finding all of this out throughout these episodes, and then especially leading into this one, Ichigo and Uryu are pretty much like, cousins or some shit? Like, they're kind of related, which is wild, but yeah. And then I gotta say that Kubo really made sure to cross everything out of possible plot holes or complaints that fans could have regarding Ishin, because, it was a little bit muddy and unclear for a very long time. You start off the series, he's just a regular human. Then you find out, wait a minute, he's a Shinigami? Then you find out, okay, he used to be a Shinigami and something happened. Now with these 2 episodes in this finale is like, we know exactly what happened. He was a selfless man, and that's why he lived life the way he did, and all the connections with Urahara, like everything just went full circle and tied in very nicely. And I gotta give props, of course, to Kubo on the writing of making sure that this time around there's no questions to ask when you walk away about, what was that about Ishin being a shit? It ties in so beautifully with this whole story. And it almost makes me personally look at it like, imagine if Bleach went a lot longer, because there is the whole thing that Kubo was, ill, and that's why arguably the ending of Bleach was rushed and whatnot. Imagine Bleach could have gone a lot longer. I wonder if people would have really taken in and accepted Bach as, he was really meant to be the villain all along of this whole thing. Like, there was a 999 year preparation for this whole thing, and I'm not gonna lie, it definitely felt like Kubo grabbed a lot of influence from different historical figures and historical aspects with Bach and everything that the lore brings forth from the Stern Ritter and the Quincy Tale and all of that stuff. Like, those are all based on things that Kubo was influenced by, and he just brought it to life so well and made it make sense. Because again, you go into this 1,000 Year Blood War and you're like, okay, well, we had Aizen was really the villain for like a good majority of the series. We had Genjo and the Fullbringers try to pull a fast one, previous Shinigami substitute. What's next? Where do you go from here to be even more grandiose than a big villain that took up majority of the series, and then Genjo? And it's like, this dude is really the guy, and we've seen it all throughout, and this finale yet again ties in as well. And then, diving something that, man, oh man, it's hard to say that because the manga really, of course, rationed this portion of the story out. These episodes are taking like 4 to 5 chapters and putting them in, but I gotta say, even for this finale, it didn't really feel like, oh man, this is, speeding through. Like, I feel like this is a present to Bleach fans. Like, granted, you couldn't probably just jump into the 1,000 Year Blood War and really understand almost anything. You're gonna be so confused. You gotta watch all 306, well, not all 300, you can skip the filler, but you gotta watch all the canon of Bleach to really appreciate what's being brought forth. If you don't know anything about Bleach, this isn't gonna be meaningful for you. This isn't gonna be tying all together. It's just gonna be like this sad story in the rain. But when you understand what the meaning of this whole thing is and what it means to the foundation of even the series and the beginnings of the Serite, is just impactful, and how it all lands so nicely into Ichigo being the one that brings this whole tale to life in form of his family tree and the connections is awesome as well, making the main character truly essential. Because oftentimes you would look at Ichigo throughout Bleach and be like, well, of course he's the main character, but he's not really main to the thing because he's just reacting to, well, Soul Society's on some bullshit, well, Aizen's on some bullshit. This time around, yeah, Aizen was still on some bullshit that led to the creation of that hollow and stuff like that, but this is really, this is a problem from Ichigo's family bloodline. This is an Ichigo problem. This is why you get Cour 1 being so pivotal and important to things, because this is a problem from well before any of the things that Ichigo had to face. This is this time around not, hey, I'm a substitute Shinigami. This is this time around, I'm part Quincy, and my mother went through some shit, some really bad stuff happened that I didn't even know, unbeknownst to me. Yeah, I gotta face this stuff. I gotta understand what's going on here. Finding out the truth about how Masaki Kurosaki was really killed, that essentially the day Grand Fisher was there, she could have blipped him away like nothing. Masaki was really freaking strong. It was the fact that that just so happened to be the day of the arise and the ripping of the Quincy powers from people like her. And it makes you wonder, wait a minute, what happened with it? Was Katagiri also a victim of that? Like, what happened? Is Katagiri still alive? Maybe she is. I don't know. Or maybe I'm thinking of Ryuken's mom. Either way, yeah, a lot of Quincy's died, which I guess I feel like the anime probably skipped over that aspect as well of explaining like, yo, Masaki wasn't the only victim of this situation, you know, like Bach did some really horrible things. He sacrificed a lot of Quincy's and a lot of people to get that revival. And one of the most important, impactful, and craziest moments of it all is the revelations about Zangetsu and the hollow, so to speak, within Ichigo, that basically, yeah, the hollow pretty much was like the real Ichigo in a way, and even not so. Like, Ichigo is Ichigo, I felt like was the main message of this whole thing. Like, you know, going above all of what we got, I feel like Ichigo's like, no, I'm me. Those were assets that helped me. You know, that hollow side helped me. Zangetsu, even though he was a fraud, and it was really the Quincy within me trying to protect me, because it looks like at some given point, and even possibly till now, throwing in a bag of revenge, of course, in that, Bach really wanted to help his people. Like, the sad part of this whole thing is that, and I don't think we'll ever get it, is the true reason why this war really kicked off, and, you know, getting like, imagine we had a spinoff that just explained how the war even began to begin with, because it sounds like if this is based off of the Quincy, right? If this is based off the Quincy King, Yuhabaha, and he is supposedly there all throughout Bleach, protecting Ichigo just because you are Quincy, lending powers to something that has Shinigami involved just because you are my son born in darkness, that means that more than likely Bach was a righteous, caring person about his people, and that's what led to war with the Shinigami. I mean, obviously there's more to it of how to handle the hollows and whatnot, but yeah, that was still an integral part, and again, just something amazing that this finale is doing. Honestly, I forgot how long the Thousand Year Blood War is, because I feel like we're damn near halfway through the arc already, and again, there's still 3/4 of the way through to go. I want to add that initially I felt like the first episode was the better finale. Like, if we would have just had a 12 episode one, okay, boom, Ichigo understands everything from the past. I felt like that was really strong up until the end of the second episode, because there was a bunch of cool stuff. We got Hitsugaya training up, we're seeing everyone in the Serete, like, we're getting a lot of cool stuff, like, okay, this is the get back. That part with Komamura and the giant dog, oh my god, I cannot wait. I forgot there's a very, very hype moment that's incoming with Komamura. Oh my god, yes, that was a great moment too. But really what solidified in terms of this narrative, in terms of the finale being a telling of Ichigo Kurosaki, how the story really came to be, his life, who he is seeing the forging of the Zangetsu with Mimayo Uetsu getting it done and whatnot, and seeing him dual-wielding Bankai, baby. That's where Asta from Black Clover, he was inspired by that. I know, like, definitely, because it looked awesome. It looked epic. I thought they were going to do something a little bit different in terms of getting us like a 360 angle of it. They didn't go that route. That would have been really awesome. But either way, Ichigo has evolved and accepted again who he is. He's like, yo, dog, Zangetsu, whoever you are, if you're really just Baka, whatever you did, helped me a lot, and you got me to this point, even though you didn't have to do none of that. I rock with you. I don't need you, you know, I don't need to use you. I don't need to fight alongside you. Likewise with the hollow, you know, I kind of kept pushing you off. You're not me, blah, blah, blah. It's like, nah, dog, I got this now. Thank you for everything. And then boom, dual wielding Bankai. It was honestly an amazing finale, man, and I can't freaking wait for it to return. Bleach's Thousand Year Blood War. This was anime of the year. Like, easily the most triumphant return, the most fitting expression for all the Bleach fans out there that patiently waited, that screamed, we want it, but we understand, please bring it back, that was hoping and anxious for it. Your patience has paid off, because this was incredible and fitting of a fandom that waited 10 years. And again, we still got like a bajillion episodes to go, 3 more quarters. But yeah, until the next one, people, Bleach Thousand Year Blood War Cour 1 end. Thanks for watching and enjoying this experience with me. I hope to catch you on the next set of episodes. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. Subscribe and hit that bell. I talk about a whole bunch of other anime and manga related stuff, and I think you'll have a great time with me. Have an awesome one. Thank you, Kubo and Piro, for really putting in the works for this finale.